Why is Tesla already worth more than Ford and General Motors combined? Just imagine a product 10 times cheaper than normal. This would generate an immense amount of demand. Or an electric car that would make fossil fuels for vehicles redundant. My name is Omar. With my master in strategic management, I will be explaining the first mover advantage strategy with Tesla as an example. First of all, what is the first mover advantage principle? It is a notion from game theory that the first to enter a market can obtain a massive advantage in, for example, market share, customer loyalty, and brand recognition. They usually learn by doing and are further down the experience curve than competitors. Because of this, they also know what they should not be doing. The first mover advantage of Tesla: you can set the standard. It is difficult for traditional car companies to adapt to a radical change, as it requires them to unlearn what made them successful. Tesla can set the standard, which creates an expectation among customers as they get used to a certain item. This creates a barrier of entry for competitors, since new companies will have to match the set standards. Being the first one allows Tesla to build electrical vehicles that are free from the limitations of gasoline car thinking. No gears, a skateboard chassis, 2 engines, a frunk, and a credit card key are only few of Tesla's ideas. Tesla reinvents how its cars will be both sold and serviced. Today's ordinary auto manufacturers are basically wholesalers of their cars to auto dealers that are their franchisees. This business model is a Great Depression relic that went unchallenged until Tesla came along. Tesla decided that the traditional business model was not appropriate for the new electrical car domain. Instead, it copied from Apple, which controls the full customer experience from buying to servicing to upgrading. Tesla changed how a car is serviced. For example, the speakerphone stops working, you can go to the Tesla app and request a service and choose between bringing your car to the Tesla service center or having a service technician come to you. If you choose the latter, a technician will show up and you can do whatever you are doing while you get your car fixed. Auto dealers, an asset to car companies today, are tomorrow's liabilities. As Tesla's direct distribution and service model should provide a cost advantage once it gets to scale, Tesla model is a more customer-friendly and efficient, allowing the company to capture the profit that ordinary car makers share with their dealers because a good number of Tesla cars are built to order. The company also doesn't need inventory sitting on parking lots. Moreover, ordinary manufacturers may not be able to replicate Tesla's direct sale business model because they are still stuck with franchisee agreements that they signed with their dealers. Intellectual property. Usually, intellectual property provides a significant advantage against competitors. However, Tesla does not share this vision in particular. What do you think about the strategy of Tesla? Let me know in the comments below. Well, maybe in this item they will not keep their advantage, but there are still plenty of other first mover advantage that one can have. Obtaining strategic resources, data, and own battery cells. In the race to a self-driving car, data will be key. The end game for autonomous vehicles will be one or two dominant development platforms. But in order to attract developers, automakers need to be one of the first movers at scale with self-driving vehicles. That's where Tesla has a huge advantage, as it has collected an incredible 1.3 billion miles of data, thanks to its autopilot equipped vehicles. Tesla is also building a battery cell manufacturing line and is designing its own equipment to produce the cells. Tesla currently buys cells from Panasonic made in Japan for Model S and Model X, for example. The automaker used those cells, which they helped design, to make their own modules and battery packs, but they have never produced their own cells yet. It will be a brand new product line for Tesla, which allows them to obtain a strategic resource to allow a more efficient production line, which ultimately benefits the customer and their strategic advantage. Charge higher costs because there are no alternatives. When there's little to no competition, you can charge a premium since there are no competitors that the customer can go to. Therefore, Tesla started with the strategy of selling more expensive cars and with those profits slowly increasing their production to cheaper cars with more volume. These cars have limited choices in options and they try to use as many standardized and reusable products as possible to decrease the cost, which will be important as more competitors will enter the market. Tax breaks and subsidies. As first movers, the companies, especially when it concerns to innovation, often receive support from the government. For example, Tesla got a tax reduction and landed a 1.4 billion in tax breaks, free land and other beneficence. to build their factory in Nevada. Also, initially, with new innovations, there are a lot of subsidies for consumers buying an electrical vehicle, which is slowly being decreased over time as it is more common to have an electrical vehicle. Disadvantages. The market might not be ready. When you shake up an industry, you're bound to face some resistance from lobbyists, politicians, and of course, other businesses. Not to mention legal systems that might not even be ready for you. There are people across America who will buy an electric car tomorrow, if only they had some place to plug it in. For Forgot oft-cited range anxiety, many experts say the real deal killer, especially for city and apartment dwellers, is a lack of chargers. Call it the great disconnect. In townhomes, apartments and condos in dense cities, plenty of people worried about climate change would make for a potential audience for electrical vehicles. But without a garage, they often feel locked out of the game. An infrastructure change had to be initiated to even make it practically possible for cars to be in the market. Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed this far. Competition can reverse engineer a product and make it cheaper. An engineer tearing down the Tesla Model 3 can learn from it, and because of that can skip a part of the learning curve and discover insights which may have taken years to do. Therefore, the company will be able to produce similar or cheaper products in a shorter time span. The average price for a new mid-size car in the US was $25,000 in 2020. Consumers could even get an all-electric Nissan Leaf for $32,000, and a Hyundai Ioniq Electric goes for $34,000. These are already cheaper than the $35,000 Tesla Model 3. However, some economists state that it's not who is first, but who can achieve scale first will have a strategic advantage in the long term, as they will be able to produce more and capture a higher market share of the electrical vehicle market. Being first is expensive. R&D is expensive. Educating a new market is expensive. Setting up a production for a new product at scale, you guessed it, expensive. To get an idea of how expensive a simple commodity product can be, consider that Gillette spent $750 million to come up with the Mach 3. Almost 20 years later, the Dollar Shave Club offers a near identical razor for, you guessed it, $1. It did not cost them $750 million to come up with this idea. As a first mover, estimating the cost turns out to be quite difficult. And we can't forget the opportunity cost, because if you try something and it does not work, you can't get the money back you have spent on research and development. Summary. A first mover has several advantages, such as setting the standard, customer loyalty, and a head start in research and development. Although there can be more advantages and disadvantages with the first mover strategy, it all depends on the company and industry in which it is in. In the car industry, competition is always lurking in the background and can learn from previous mistakes that Tesla had. If existing car companies can easily make the switch to electrical cars, then there will be a reduction in the gained competitive advantage that Tesla currently has. In summary, Tesla seems to enjoy the advantages more than the disadvantages. However, the automotive market is changing and competition is increasing. It will be interesting to see what Tesla's strategy will be moving forward and if they can compete in a bigger market with more competitors. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, and if you want to see me discuss other strategies, let me know in the comments below. Furthermore, if you want to learn more about the first mover strategy, in the description you can find a link to a book I have used. Thank you, and see you next time.